just somebody. Now I'm crazy.
Welcome to Volkswagen ID.4. This is an all-electric car, Pro Performance First Edition. Without further ado, I say let's hop in, find out what this car is all about, and find out just how far we can go.
You make me a whole lot better.
So the ID.4 is comfy to drive, but it's not as fluffy as you might think. The other week I have had the Tiguan plug-in hybrid, and this was well more comfortable. But there's a reason this car feels the way it feels. It weighs 2.1 tons, and if they didn't firm up the suspension, it would put a massive stain on the handling. It would be like a big old boat around the corners, swinging left and right. Here, Volkswagen has gone above and beyond because we've got ideal weight distribution, 50-50. And around the corners, it feels solid, it feels planted, there's very little body lean. Overall, it is relaxing to drive, of course being very quiet because it's electric. But as you hop on the motorway and pick up a bit of speed, there is a bit of tire noise and wind noise. It's not bad, but you can hear it. Now, here's my recommendation for you. Don't pick up a bit of speed, because then your electric range goes right out of the window. But about that a little bit later.
Say you love me, say you don't. Just give me something.
So my battery pack is 77 kilowatt hours. The motor pumps 204 horsepower. This is the most powerful ID.4 you can get. Now you can charge the battery at home using a regular wall socket, and it will take you, listen to this, 30 hours, that's right. But I'm going to paste a picture of real life example from yesterday. So charging at 45 kilowatt hours, I was able to take the battery from 20% to 100% in 1 hour and 20 minutes. Now, if you've got access to those fast chargers, you can take this car from 5% to 80%, which is something that you should actually be doing, 80% versus 100% for the health of your battery. And it will take you just 38 minutes. So that's pretty good.
'Cause I can't stand another moment of you playing.
So let's talk visibility. The rear window is on the smaller side, but you of course have got the high-tech reverse camera, so that just saves the world. But the front here, you're sitting high up, you've got really good visibility. In fact, it feels a bit like a fish tank. Well done, Volkswagen. The steering is nice and light, but it's got a very good response. Gentle turn, and it does exactly what you tell it to do. Now the ID.4 is easy to drive, it's very easy to maneuver. That's because we've got a very good turning circle. I wouldn't expect anything less of Volkswagen. In fact, this car feels like a little hatchback when you maneuver it in and out of car park around town. And a little car, it is not. All right, let's check the boot space. So we've got 543 liters of space. Just to give you an idea, the Tiguan plug-in hybrid is a car of a similar size, but its boot space is smaller, 476 liters. Now the floor here is completely flat, so it's super easy to get your things in and out, and that is enough about the boots.
Patience, I'm running out of patience.
So the reason I have mentioned the Tiguan in terms of comfort is because these two cars are actually very similar in size. The Tiguan is a bit more traditional, more elegant. This is a bit more swollen, a bit bulkier. It's futuristic, but without overdoing it. But it's not everybody's cup of tea. Personally, I prefer the looks of the ID.3, but then again, the ID.3 is less spacious, less practical, so there's always the trade-off. You just have to figure out what is important to you. About being a passenger in ID.4. So I have adjusted this seat for my height, which is just over 1.7 meter, 5'7". I've got plenty of legroom, really good headroom. Have a look at this beautiful sunroof. Pretty neat, isn't it? What about the third person? Actually, now this is a proper third seat because the floor here is completely flat. We've got the batteries underneath. And reasonable amounts of space you can fit in 3 adults. I mean, they have to be quite slim, but still you can fit in 3 people easily and comfortably, which is something that's actually quite unusual in electric cars, even SUVs. So well done, Volkswagen.
I wish that I had guts enough to flirt a little, but I'm too
also got the motor mounted at the rear, so technically this is a rear-wheel drive car. But don't get carried away, this ain't some sort of a sports car. Nevertheless, let's pop you into sport mode and let's floor it. Ooh, got punch a bit. Instant power, no sweats at all. And acceleration is nice and smooth. That's because we've got a single speed automatic gearbox. Now let's talk about the brakes, because these tend to be quite greedy and grabby in electric cars. And no matter how hard you try, you just can't get it right. It's not the case here. They're actually just right. But when you drive in the what's so-called the B mode, you can get away with driving just with the throttle, because as soon as you lift your foot off the throttle, the car will slow down for you. You don't have to press the brake, and you regain some of the lost energy. In a lot of electric cars, this is all jerky and quite the opposite of smooth. It's not the case here. It's actually very much effortless. I like that. It was the same case with the ID.3. Well done, Volkswagen. Let's get down to nitty-gritty and talk about the electric range. So the declared range is 519 kilometers, which is 322 miles. And let me tell you about my experience. So I've picked this car up. I've swapped it from Giulia Quadrifoglio with 510 horsepower. So safe to say my mood was rather, well, frisky. I drove through a congested city about 40 kilometers. Then I hit the motorway with a speed of about 130 kilometers an hour. I drove about 230 kilometers. So all in all, about 270 kilometers journey. I was live in the old dog yet? Nope. I was out of electric juice. It was over. But anyway, then I settled down. I've charged the car. And I drove just through the city and B roads, and you can get this declared range. I just wish the car manufacturers were a little bit upfront and honest about how the car needs to be used in order to get this declared range. The fact seems to be a little bit swept under the carpet, but anyway, this is why I'm here. Sweet bedtime stories crusher. Anyway, this is the reality. It's not bad actually, I think. Anyway, this particular car that I have with me today, first edition, 77 kilowatt hours of battery, that will cost you £41,000 in the UK. Now the smaller battery, 52 kilowatt hours, will cost you £35,000 in the UK, and you get a deduction of £3,000 from the government. Cheap it is not, I understand. Okay, so onto the cabin. Overall, the design is very clean and pure, and I really like it. The quality of the materials, the fit and finish is very good. Nothing squeaks, nothing wobbles, everything is well put together. These seats are lovely, they're very soft and comfortable. You've got Alcantara running all the way down here with leather sides. I do like this color combination, grey and brown. I think it looks very elegant. You also have the armrest if you're like a boss. Alrighty. Lovely is also the steering wheel. You've got the shortcut buttons in here. And I have to say, initially, it does appear to be a bit of a mumbo-jumbo because they are slide, they are press, and you start to wonder, for goodness sake, Volkswagen, is it slide, is it press, help me. But I promise you, with a bit of time and patience, you will get to like this. You've got a small screen in here, but you have everything here that you need, especially your range and your speed. This is your gear lever. Petite and very cute. Actually, this brings you to the point that you don't have a start and stop button in this car, because all you need to do when you hop in is brush on the brake and the car will start automatically for you. And the very same thing, when you leave, you just pop it into park, open the door, jobs are rubbing, gear done. So that's very, very helpful. Now, because it's a Volkswagen, let's talk about practicality. Large bowl of water, you can easily fit in side pocket. You also have a bit of carpet at the bottom. Lovely. You can also fit it in here, Perfect. You have big pocket in here. In fact, you can fit a bottle of water in here. Wireless mobile charging, and hide That's a way to put all your dark secrets away so nobody sees. And then we have the large pocket, which is lovely, but we've got the shelving. I think Volkswagen tried to be really practical here. And no matter how hard I try and what I do, these are just flimsy and forget it. Look at it. That's better. All right, on to the infotainment system. We've got this big, crystal clear touchscreen. I do like this. The system is very simple, very intuitive. And what I learned today, actually, just by chance, you can move these icons around just like on an iPhone. Lovely. I thought it was quite neat. Is it just me? It is just me, but anyway, that's that. Let's have a look at the map. I think it's very, very good. The graphics are excellent, as you can see. You can, of course, plug in your iPhone or your Android if you don't like it, but I personally really like it. But we're going to have a look at my consumption. So we've got since start, long term, since charge. Let's have a look at since charge, because this is when I start to behave myself. And you see 14.5 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. 77 kilowatt hours battery divided by 14.5, that's 5.3 times 100. That gives me a range of 530 kilometers. So you see, if you want to, you can. When there is a will, there is a way. And with my heavy right foot, if I can, you can as well. Long term, you see nearly 23 kilowatt hours. I mean, somebody was really naughty. I mean, those journalists, just terrible. What a behavior. But that just shows you the range. All right, on to the buttons. Oh, shall I say the lack of buttons? So to control your climate or your volume, you have the sliders here. Don't we just love these sliders? I think Volkswagen has heard that loud and clear. Let me just set the record straight. I hate these. I really try to like these sliders, but they're so distracting. It's so flimsy. It's such a mumbo jumbo that I have just simply given up. And this is probably why I learned to like these buttons, because to control volume, it's either here or here. So I prefer to do it here. See? And push comes to shove, you can. But of course, climate control, this is the only way. You can also press the button here. And it's also touch, and it's fiddly, and it's very distracting. And Volkswagen, do something about it, please. But let's see what the future brings. Overall, I think the cabin it's very simple, but it's actually very lovely. So it is clear that the motorway is the biggest thief of your energy. So you just have to keep that in mind if you're doing frequent long distance journeys on the motorway. This car, actually no electric car is probably good for you. Go for the hybrids. I still think that there's a lot of work to be done with both the range and the pricing of electric cars, and this applies to pretty much all car manufacturers. As for the ID.4, well, it is a very solid all-round, a great family car, very practical, especially with this back seat, and peaceful. You should quite like it. And that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you all very, very soon. Bye!